Right, so here we are again. Got some time to get into this, so hopefully should be fairly fast progression this time. So they've taken the cover off there, the vent. Obviously it was sitting on top on the last video if you saw that. This has now been cut out on here, so I've literally just got to take this off, drop it down probably about an inch or so. Got to make a frame for it to sit on, cut it out to size properly, because obviously all around here is all just chucked in for now. So once I've got the actual thing sitting properly inside there in the frame, I can then make it the proper shape of how I want it in the looking around the engine and the alternator and all that sort of stuff. We'll see how we get on. So hopefully we'll get this looking a lot better by the end of this video and part 2. See how we get on, and I'll do part 2 in a sec. Right, so part 2. I'm actually going to do 3 parts on this video instead, because I wanted to do some in the light, and if I leave it till the end I won't be able to do that, it'll be dark. So basically what I've been up to, you can probably see already, things have changed quite a bit. I've done quite a lot of sanding. So the front of the bonnet and bumper, top of bonnet, everything else has all been sanded, so it's not all this orange filler stuff anymore. Had to get rid of that basically, just for, I'll just use that for a guide coat and nothing else basically. So I've done quite a lot. So I've basically blended in all the sides here, so all the bonnet line is now done. It's not fully there, it's not far off actually, pretty good that. Yeah, it's pretty much there, so literally it just needs a bit more flattening, which I won't do till probably final stages now. But the lines and things are pretty good. I've done some work on this mirror over here, and where the mirror is connected to the car, that's all now blended in properly, all fiberglassed in. There's a little bit of damage on that mirror there. I hit that with a hammer by mistake, so it needs a bit of work. But apart from that, that's all good, and it just needs a bit of flattening because it's slightly ripply there as well. It's not too bad. So yeah, basically I've done this, I've done all the shut lines, I've done all around here, so I've blended it all in here basically. This shape here, I can't remember what the light fits like. I've got to try and glue it back in briefly so I can see where it fits. I think there'll be some more fiberglass going in this little section here, I can't remember, so I'm going to have a look at that while I'm getting the fiberglass out for part 3. That's one of the reasons I'm doing 3 parts for this as well, because most of it's fiberglass in on the next part. I've got the bonnet itself. You'll notice that that's all cut out. Basically had a bit of an issue whereby, let's zoom out a little bit here. Had a bit of an issue basically where the top piece of this bonnet, where it comes off, where it's going to lift, this whole thing's going to lift like that and then tilt like that. That's the idea. But the problem is where it sat, it didn't have it didn't sit right, all these corners. I mean, obviously all this will be done properly when it's fitted properly, and it's already on the electrics and everything else. No point doing it till then. But basically it didn't sit flush. So I think what's happened is when I've cut the bonnet, when I've cut all this section out here, I've fiberglassed the sections in and down, and then somehow it's got a little bit lower than it probably would have been originally. So what I've had to do, I've had to cut the lines here, down there, all the way down. This is all now a bit broken, a bit dodgy, doesn't matter really, to be honest, if we get it sorted anyway. So all this is basically going to sit slightly different to get those lines back in again. Same this side. I didn't actually need to do this side as such because there's nothing in the way this side, but obviously it's got to be level on the bonnet, so that's going to raise very slightly, so that's probably going to sit probably there, I'd say. So yeah, I've had to do all that. In chopping out the bottom of the underneath of this whole section, I kind of chopped out a piece that I probably shouldn't have done, which I've still got it somewhere. I can't remember where I've put that right this second. Here it is. Chopped out a section here, which normally goes in there. I didn't realise till after I've done it that I'd done that. Doesn't matter though, it's alright, I can sort that out. It's only a bit of a groove thing, which is going to get fiberglass anyway because of these new cuts. So in some ways it doesn't really matter at all. Yeah, so that's looking quite healthy there. The next video on that is going to be the cover, the engine cover, because I've actually half started that as well, which is where the next part comes in. I've done the side here as well. Again, that's the wrong shape. I think the fiberglass needs to go across here, but I'll find out again. But you can see it's all been blended in now. All the lines are good. Arch lines are good. Everything looks pretty good. And the mirror, again, is all blended in. Another thing on this, this section here, you'll notice is all really rough. I've got to try and figure out where the window is going to come down to, because it sits in this groove and comes down to about here. So I'm thinking, rather than having this section here sort of overlapping and making this look untidy, I'm thinking what I'm going to do is chop this section just down a bit, basically take this whole piece out, chop this section down here just to tidy it up, make a nice corner on it, that sort of thing, and then basically make all this nice and flush. So that's going to sit sort of like literally bang on straight into the bonnet there. So yeah, it's pretty cool, I reckon. I've done all the wings as well. I've done some work on this mirror. This mirror is basically all flat, apart from the back of it here, which there's no point in doing because I've still got to put this section in here when the gull wing goes on. But I've done all the back of the wings. All this is now sort of 60% done. There's a few bits of flattening to do here still, but it's not bad at all. It's pretty good, lined up nicely. So yeah, working really well, to be honest. This is actually going quite quick now, which I'm glad about. I'll do part 3, as I say. It's a bit of a long video, this one, but I'll show you what the engine cover's like when it's had a bit more work on it, and do that. Okay, so part 3, it's not quite gone fully to plan. However, I've managed to work around things. So the general gist was, I was going to have this cover basically sitting, try and get this down here, sitting pretty much there, and obviously got smooth and everything else, and trying to tidy it up as much as possible. But to be honest, I'm not sure it's ever really going to work, because it's very difficult to mount, and it's really tricky to get right, to be honest. So what I've done is I've ditched this plan for now. I'm doing some other work instead. So I'll ditch this a minute. Still ongoing with that, but I'll think of a plan there. So what I've been doing instead, I've been working out where all the pipe work's going to go for intercooler pipe work, and all the intake and everything else there, air filter and stuff. So what I've been doing, apologies for the terrible light because it's dark at the moment, I've flipped the intercooler the other way around, front mount. It's a bit dark under here. I've put the first section of the silicone hose and the intercooler pipe work in there. It needed to be changed because the wheel used to hit it, basically, so I'm having to reroute all the pipe work from where it used to be. Obviously it used to be in there before, when I used to run it before, but yeah, it was hitting all the time. So basically I had to reroute it anyway, so I've started that. That then brings it up to underneath there, and then obviously comes up here into the section which is too small, this section at the moment, because I've changed all the rubbers and things, all the silicone. So obviously goes off to the dump valve. I know a lot of people don't like them, but you know, it's old school max power, so why not? So that's basically where it's going to go. It's obviously got to sit level with that, so it's going to go across there and down there, which basically gives me a rough idea where I need to be with the bonnet vent, which is going to fit fine. And obviously the bonnet vent also clears all this as well, which it wouldn't do if I had this cover thing on. So now the plan is, oh, another thing I've been doing, I'm tidying up all the back of the engine bay. So I'm taking off all the excess bolts and things, all the brackets. I'm just in the process of chopping this one off at the moment. All the excess bits and bobs that you don't need, stuff that holds this on, which I'm going to remount on something else. The bracket that the coil used to be sitting on, which is buried down here, down there, as you can see it. I've took the bracket off that, so it's all going to be lowered, basically put further down. And the reason behind that is because the cover is still going to be a thing to make it look tidy, However, it's going to be a lower height, so it's going to be down here and then come up the sides here, so it's going to look a dip instead, and then sort of go around the engine rather than be sort of on top of it level or just on top, because it's just going to work out easier, much easier to mount. And then obviously I have mounting brackets at the back of here for the linear actuators for the bonnet to go up. So yeah, it's coming out quite nice, to be fair. It's going to be a little bit different to what I thought originally, but it's going to work. All the pipe work and everything else is fairly minimalist. A few people have asked if I can still get the radiator in there, and yep, there's no problem. The radiator slots nicely in there. Obviously power steering, reservoir out of the way. So yes, coming out quite nice. But I'll do another video next week, so we can see how we get on. And well, drop some comments if you can, and leave subscribe as well if you can, and I'll reply to them.